Why, yes, I am writing notes for a video. That tells you my dedication.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I wrote notes for this video, which is very odd for me because I don't typically do this. I don't know what came over me today, but, for those who don't know, I got back into the paranormal, which seems to be an on and off thing. Got interested in Flemings because I was looking for paranormal stuff on YouTube, and I came across his YouTube channel. I'm going to put a link to the video itself, and I'm going to put a link to the place that he spent the night, because I was looking through his YouTube videos and I found one that I was just watching because I didn't know what he meant by the black circle. It's the video is called The Visitors. Kind of just when he comes across these things, he'll sometimes make a video about it, or in the moment. Later on editing and then uploaded about a month later or so, which seems to be the pattern. A couple days, about three or 4 days ago, I commented that I noticed something a little odd. I was like, on the lower left-hand corner of the mirror, there's like this black spot. Is that you? Like, what is that? You know, thinking maybe it's like the headboard. And I get this response from Chris that's like, oh my god, no, it can't be I'm laying in bed and the only one in the room. Holy cow, nice catch. And I'm like really excited. In fact, I was so excited that I was jumping up and down in my theater building that I work at the university, just flipping, flailing around like somebody who I'm like watching their content and like love what they do and love learning about stuff through their eyes, as opposed to, you know, typically what we see is them fucking around with demons, and here we have a guy who wants to kind of more of a positive twist on things, or more, yes, positive, but more, here's how to protect yourself kind of thing. And not the person's fault, but somebody commented saying, well, it might be a lampshade or a headboard, as it does pop up a couple times, for quite a few times, and I kind of got a little depressed. Not her fault or anything. And, you know, and I was like, I thought I was onto something. Well, this is kind of embarrassing. I feel like I got you all excited for no reason. Something I hate to do. I don't want to make someone excited and then suddenly just like all that excitement is just wiped away, gone. And she responded sweetly. Bless her heart. I love her. She's so sweet. She was like, no, please don't be embarrassed. It was a good catch. You know, you've got good eagle eyes. I watched this before and didn't see it at all, and don't forget, I could be wrong. So, ever since she made the reply, I replied back, you know, God bless you, hon, you know, and I explained, you know, my unfortunate, you know, if I lead on to something and somebody tells me, well, not quite right, I immediately, like, back off. And so it was, like, just that little personal touch. But ever since then, I started watching the video and I started noticing things, and I was like, you know what? I need to sit down and break this down. So, yes, fucking notes. You've never seen this shit with this kind of video like this, but I need to, because what happens in the video is a constant well, not a constant, but it keeps occurring over throughout. I also don't have a way to evaluate this properly, so I'm also sending this as a message to Chris, if there's any possible way, sorry, something was in my mouth. Whatever. He can look into his original footage. It might be easier than on YouTube, because YouTube tends to kind of bring the quality down just a hair, and that can really affect cell phone videos. But I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to go through the evidence as it goes by. But before we do that, what happened? Well, in his original video, The Visitors in the Black Circle, he normally would show us EVPs. That's pretty much what happened. Up until like the 4 or so minute mark, which goes on to him going back to sleep, waking up to find something rustling in his stuff. And that goes into its own separate thing. But actually, I bring that part up only because it actually further confirms where I actually adds as a piece of evidence later, simply by further narrowing how I even further believe that this couldn't have been a lampshade. And it's actually kind of funny. I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm actually charging the device, my camera, at the same time as recording, and the cord is short. And I originally had it like over here, so I moved it over here. You can see this lampshade. I have some screenshots I want to put in the video, and I have websites that we can reference. No, I am not a creeper, for God's sakes. This is All for the sake of the evidence. I swear to God. So, right off the bat, we are told about him having events that occur to him once in a while and quite frequently. Now, the one disadvantage we have is that we can't see what the back wall looks like. The only way we know what the back wall looks like, you know, from behind the headboard is by referencing the website from the place that he spent the night at, which was at a hotel in the UK. Probably on his way to record Hey, My Life is Haunted. Great show, by the way. Love that show. But the place is called King's Arms in Charlton Hawthorne, Sherborne, United Kingdom. And I pulled up the website. You can actually go to their website. It's thekingsarms.co.uk/bedrooms. Really easy to find. I'll put it in the description for those who need it. I'm fairly certain I know what room he stayed in. Like, I can... If the description doesn't convince you, then what I'm about to show in evidence and video will tell you. But this is important, because we have to know what his room looked like. There we go. I thought something was in my mouth. Jesus Christ. I ate a baked potato and there's skin. I don't usually eat the skin, but if there's enough butter, I will eat the skin. But I have to know what his room looks like, because what happened is in the mirror, in the lower left-hand corner of the mirror, a black mass is shown on multiple occasions. And most people are saying it's his headboard, and most people are saying it's the lampshade. I don't think it's the headboard or the lampshade, because of the room he stayed in. Now, to be fair, the staff could have changed some stuff out. There could have been a change out of the headboard, but from the sounds of this place, it doesn't sound like something they would do. They keep to theme. So, I don't think so. Second thing you have to know is that shadow is pitch black. There's no see-through to it. It is a blotch. It is a, like, ink. Almost like perfect ink. So, with that in mind, the room he is in, I believe, is the peridot bedroom. And I know this. I have the picture of it and the description of the place up on my computer as well. I know this because we're going to start at about the 33-second mark. And that's where we're going to start the video. So if you are pulling this up alongside with me, pull up the video, put it on a separate screen, or if you just want to listen to me in the background, that's fine too. Just kind of be aware I'm going to be hopping time spots, so you'll know that if you hear me hit my space key, I'm pausing. So kind of just keep that in mind if you're following along. So at the 34-second mark, we're starting with the first EVP. And at about the 37-second mark, we have our first few pieces of evidence. Now, we know that this room is a pure white room. There's only a couple of rooms that are like this. The ball lamp, I'm going to call it the balls lamp because I'm a fucking child, is a ball rod lamp. The peridot has that lamp. Next to it is a door. There's a door that goes into a twin-sized room. Usually this is reserved for, like, families. That goes into a twin-sized room right across from it. There is a mirror there, and I bring up that mirror because that mirror is the other side of the bed is where there's a curtain. Now, the curtain is white, but because of light refraction, it can look a little creamy colored because of the shading. But I bring that up because there's no design on the curtain, so it kind of helps to just, clarify that side of the room. That curtain is closed, and there's no designs on it. We also, throughout the video, you're going to notice there's a couple times where I'll have moments of pause where you can actually see this better. There's a cupboard, and that cupboard has a mirror on it. As a side note, if Chris is watching this, I'm kind of curious to see if anything actually comes up. I can't see it from the YouTube player. I don't see anything, but I wonder if something did come up, reflecting by reflection. So, like, because you do see the mirror that I'm referencing in the mirror from the cupboard. So I'm wondering maybe if something shows up, but I don't think anything does. That is all in the luxury boutique bedrooms. Peridot bedroom has the exact same lamp, has the exact same placement of the door. We don't see the mirror, but that could be like a specific room placement. We do see the cupboard perfectly with the mirror, perfect room. And we see the width of the windows as well as the grating. If you look towards the end of the video, you'll see the grating that's on the bottom of the window. He is definitely in the peridot room. Now, first thing you're going to notice is that there is nothing black in his room. The closest colored black would be in his room is any decorations on the windows, which are obviously covered by the curtains. And his pillows, doesn't look like he has there, would be too short anyways. And, of course, the lamps. Now, the headboards are white, clear cut. The lamps are completely, possibly, maybe. But the problem is that they have black stripping, right? So there are black strips in the lamps that I'm seeing on the picture. To me, though, I don't think a camera would make that perfectly black. I just don't see that happening. So, with that in mind, we know what room he's in, and we know what his environment's like, which means we can now compare. So, continuing on from that point, immediately at the 40-second mark, you click it wrong and you'll miss it. So start at about 38, and you're just going to see it, pop up for a second, and it just goes right back down, and it actually pops up again. And it's going to go, like, a little bit up and down, and then it's going to shoot up again, and that's about, like, the 40 to 48 second mark. So it actually pops up just a little bit, and you're going to see this mass come up. It actually comes up from an angle. You'll notice from the left-hand corner of the mirror, it's going to come up at an angle. And this is the clearest shot we have of this mass. I don't know if it's the trickery of the pixels, but I also notice it's not pure black. There is a shade of super dark gray in there, which tells me shading, which tells me dimensions. So does that prove it or disprove it? Hard to say. Personally, I think it's possible that it proves it, right? Especially when it's not there, and yet when it shows up, it has dimensions, and yet we have nothing to show that it's black, and so on and so forth. And what's interesting is that the camera, at the end of the 46-second, you'll see the camera kind of pans to the side. What's interesting is about the movement of the actual figure actually goes down. And actually, for those who don't know, YouTube allows you to play footage slower. In the settings, I have this in theater mode, I think it is. You can go to the HD settings, and you'll see playback speed. Normally it's on normal. I'm going to put it on 25% so I can walk this through. So if you go back to about, I'm going to say 39, you're going to see it pop up for just a smidge. It goes back down, but then it pops up again. And yeah, it's moving at about the same rate, but you'll notice it starts rising its head. Okay, I just had a second there. Watching this in slow-mo, it almost looks like a face. I hope that's not my brain playing tricks on me. You'll notice it's moving up while the camera is kind of moving to the side. That tells me immediately this is not normal. That whatever is happening, he caught this on... and the best ghost evidence is always on accident. It's like photos. The best ones are the candid ones. It's ironic in ghost hunting, though, because you want as clear a picture as possible, but the ones that you gotta explain are the hardest, but they're usually the most fun to catch. Oh, you do see it for a little bit at 105. It does pop its head up. And it goes back down when the camera has barely moved. So it does move while the camera is semi-still. It's not moving erratically or anything, and it just goes boop. But there's like a long delay of 40 seconds. So we're going to skip ahead to about the 146 mark during the caption where it says "Look higher." Ironic, isn't it? Now, hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? Look higher. Yeah, no shit. Bring your camera up so you can see it better. I'll bet you a frickin' angel was telling you to look higher, and there it is, peeking its head. Now, this is the interesting part, is that it's shaped a little differently this time around, and you can see it's an actual square here. At the lower corner of the mirror, it's at 146. It peeks up from the literal corner, and you can see it kind of dips away or turns away, and it's no longer a box. And it literally disappears without the camera hardly moving. And I stress this because it's moving more than any other object that is moving in that frame, like the TV, for example. It's a big black box. Best thing to compare it to. Compare the movement of the shadow to the comparison of the movement of the TV. And there's how you can tell if it's in sync with the camera. If it's moving in the same sync as the TV, it's moving in the same sync as the camera. Theoretically, at least, because I know that sometimes when you take a picture, you can get the, where the face is one way, but the reflection's another. And there's that like microsecond of difference because the light has to reflect off the mirror. I don't think it works necessarily that way in motion though, so I think we're clear on that. Let's see, what's the next one coming up? Oh, it's not for a little bit yet. He actually comes around, you can see the curtains a lot better here. It's got that creamy color. You can kind of see the railing through the window there, and that's, you know, that's perfectly fine. Nothing really shows up here though till about the 226 mark, so I'm gonna fast forward a bit. I'm just gonna double check my markers, make sure there isn't anything popping up. Shoot him at high speeds, Chris. Oh, okay. Nothing seems to be popping up at this point. It seems to be residing. So I'm going to fast forward to about the 226 mark. He's making comments about the dust particles because there's so much dust. I feel horrible for the guy. Like, how did you sleep that night? With all the dust, let alone anything else. It's roaming in the dark. Of course it is. I would be concerned if it wasn't. I'd be concerned if I saw an imp in the daylight. Let's be honest with ourselves. It is at 226. Oh, there it is. He pokes his head out, and he goes right back down again. It's only a little speck. And actually, if you look really closely, you can just see a speck of him in the mirror. Just a little tiny speck of him is in the mirror. And then when Chris kind of moves his finger towards the mirror a little bit, it kind of disappears. So it's a little tiny speck there. 254 is when I notice he pops up again. So we're just gonna, you know, fast forward through that to the 254 mark. 253. 254. 250, did I mistaken? Pops up again. Oh, there he is. And he's a little bit of a square. Kind of just chills there for a second. Doesn't really do much. And then it bops back down faster than the speed of the camera moving. No joke. 3. This is a side note. That's the last time we see him. But I wonder if we can see him in the mirror from the cupboard. I don't know if that's a cupboard. I would assume it's a cupboard. But I don't know if it's a trickery of the eye. I keep thinking something's there. But every time I look, it's not. I'm also curious by the little black that's next to the curtain. I assume that's the rod to close it, but it's a little black there. Or that might be the window. Probably the window if I had my guess. But that's pretty much it. That's all I have, really, for you guys. What do you guys think? Because I'm curious myself. And why'd you tell him? 'Cause I can! I'm still watching it in quarter speed. I kept watching the TV, didn't see anything. Kept watching the bags on top of the dresser. Kept watching the bag on top of the... Who uses that wooden thing, by the way? I never do. But just for confirmation, in case you really didn't think there was anything, I didn't see anything when he first woke up, because we don't see the mirror when he wakes up again. It's the high shot, and we don't see anything. But it further confirms the cupboard with the mirror. You can see it in full, and you can compare it to the picture. Anyway, that's all I've got. I'm fairly certain we've got a shadow. I'm certain we have an imp. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and taking the time to take this 20-minute video, or 22-minute video out of your lives. Chris, if you're watching, I'm so sorry for messaging you like a hound. So stupid. Like, I never write notes for these things. And I'm just like, I've got to figure out what the hell this is. Even if I find out it's a fucking lamp, I'm going to see through this now. Because I'm kind of like, wait a minute. lampshades aren't black? And why is the head post rounded like that and keeps changing shape? You also notice that, like, sometimes it'll look like a perfect right angle, and then sometimes it kind of looks flat on the top, and it kind of, like, bows down a little bit. It's kind of weird. The first shot from the beginning is the best shot you get of it. I've also noticed a couple of things in hindsight, looking at the actual image of at the very beginning, one of the first shots we see of it in full, of its head, I assume it's its head, other than the discoloration, is that I think the lamps are so light colored that they're so lightly colored that I think that when the shadow's head pops up, if you zoom in on that, you'll notice there's a little bit of a highlight back behind its head. I think that's the lamp in question, but I'm not sure. That might be just contrast. Otherwise, throw it in the recycling bin for that comment. Anyway, special note for Chris. Thank you for what you do. You give me credit for finding it, but I give you credit for catching it. Because it's not often where we find shadows in hotel rooms like this, especially with the lights on. Which is even more cool because the lights were on. Thank you for what you do. I love your content. Someday I will get a spirit reading from you, but in the meantime, school calls, so it's late. I need to go to bed. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment in the description below. Go check out the original video. Go comment on his video. What do you think it is? Yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Peace out, okay? Sleep well. If you're having a good day, awesome. Go celebrate. If you're having a bad day, I hope it gets better. I will keep you all in my thoughts and prayers, even though that gets used over way too many times. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.